Hey guys, that buzzer means we're live. Hey, it's BJ Dolla, and I'm excited tonight. I'm really pumped because, it's always nice to have a fellow Ian member, but just another badass with me. And tonight I am graced with the honor and the presence of Miss Laura Parrish to come out and be a part of the Six Figure Success series. So how are you doing tonight, Laura?
Man, I'm awesome. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Awesome, awesome. I'm really pumped. I got to come out to Chicago and I watched you on stage and I felt the energy and the vibe, and you're just a badass. And I really appreciate you being on the series because I know that you're going to shed a lot of light and share a angle and a perspective that we haven't really gotten lately, and we haven't gotten yet in the series because we've had, dominant male. Six-figure earner so far, and then we had Pamela Herman, who kind of takes a not promoting, not selling type of let me help you with your business specifically, and goes after the coaching. So here we have somebody who hasn't been around 10, 15 years in the game, but has elevated her status and elevated her income to the rankings and the levels of the old dogs very quickly. And I'm pumped. I want to hear about you. I don't know how anybody couldn't know who Laura Parrish is right now because you're hot and on fire. You're really doing great things. But in case they haven't, would you kind of share with the audience who you are a little bit?
Sure, no problem. Like BJ said, I haven't been in this business for years and years on end. Brand new to the game, really. Just been in the industry for just over a year. I started with Empower Network May 24th of 2012. And no prior internet, marketing experience, no prior direct sales experience, no prior anything other than just hanging out and playing around on Facebook, right? Which we all love to do. So, so it was kind of cool. It was new to me, and really I got into this because everybody wants to work from home, right? Who doesn't want to work from home? We want to be our own boss and not have to answer to anybody. And really, I got into it because I wanted to make money. I wanted to work from home, make money, help my family's finances, be able to, afford a babysitter to go on a date here and there. And that was really my key intention into getting into this. And, I came across Empower Network and really worked it just part-time for about 6 months. And then I went to an event, and the event really, the power of the events are what changed me, because there I learned, really that other people believed in me and what this company is really all about. So though my original intention was to join this to make money, it turned into something very different. And I think that happens a great deal of time with people in this company, because it is the business, as David Sharp likes to call it, you really learn that this is about changing who you are, changing your life, believing in yourself and having some self-esteem, self-worth, and lifting yourself up so you can help lift other people up. And really, after that event, that's when I, instead of looking at these guys as gurus, instead of looking at them as, oh, I'll never do what they do, or, oh, how did they do this, or how did they get there? That's when I really looked at them and said, well, what makes them so different from me, right? Like, if they can do it, why can't I do it? I'm a good girl, and I got a good head on my shoulders, so if they can do it, why can't I do it? And I really transitioned into doing Empower Network full-time for a few months after that event in September. So by the time January rolled around, I was really on fire, and subconsciously I went up to David Sharp at that event in September, and I said, hey, and everyone knows I'm a recovering alcoholic. I've been sober for just over 2 years. And I went up to David Sharp at that event, and I shook his hand. I said, my name is Laura Parrish. I've been sober for 18 months. I'm going to be one of your leaders. I'm going to be in the top 35. I'm going to be on your stage in January in Austin. I'm going to have a banner. And I don't know why I did that. It was completely subconscious. I don't know how I even made that happen still to this day, but I knew that I was worth it, and I knew that I could do it. And he told me he believed in me. And, we have an option when someone says something powerful like that to us. We can take it with a grain of salt, or we can take it to heart, grasp it, and run with it. And that's what I did. And, I was on stage in January, and then top 35, and then come Chicago, not only was I on stage again, I'd made it to number 4 out of 120,000 affiliates at that time, won number 4 in a contest, won a cash prize, and got to speak in front of 6,000 people. So my business has really progressed as I decided that I was worth it. There was a company here that provided me, the tools to be able to have the success. And all I had to do besides make the decision to be successful was to take the tools and actually take the action to do so. So that's really my story.
That is awesome. That is huge. And I like what you were saying there, because I'm a big follower of the subconscious mind, and I'm a big teacher on mindset and your thoughts creating your life. And it's funny to me, I would say that your subconscious mind really set that path for you. I'm starting to see it. I really want to hear about your mindset and how your mindset has really taken you there, because I can see that it's powerful. One statement made in clarity to the owner of a now multi-million dollar company has elevated your business to where you said you were going to be. So I really want to hear from you where your mindset plays in all this.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing, because I said something on stage in Chicago, and it really has turned into a big, huge thing that people come to me when they watch the replay of that, and they say, you had your aha moment. Because there was a moment on stage where I kind of walked backwards and I put my arms out and I said, and look at me now. And that was like a moment that people have really resonated with and said, that was your shining moment. That was your aha, because I finally really got it. And just a few moments before I had done that, I said, I never believed in my life, because of where I'd been, because of my disease of alcoholism, because of the type of the person that I used to be, because I was a pretty crummy person. I was selfish. I was worried about me and what I wanted, my desires and my drinking, not worrying about anybody else, right? So I really believed about myself, well, who wants to hear anything that Laura Parrish has to say? How could I ever offer anything of importance or significance or value to anyone? Because, so oftentimes we look at the bad side of everything. It's kind of like when you go out to eat, and let's say out of 10 things that happen at your dinner, 9 of those things were completely awesome, but there was one bad thing about your dinner. What do? You go and tell everybody about the one bad thing, and you completely negate the 9 good things. So, I completely believed about myself prior to Empower Network, even though I had already, been sober, of course, and was on the right path in my life. I still didn't have a why, I still didn't know what the vehicle was going to be for me to affect and impact and influence people the way that I know I was meant to do, and have always known that in my life. I never thought I was worth it, really, honestly. And, going to that event and seeing the inspiration and seeing the other people who are doing this, so yeah, some people have been in the game, like you said, the old dogs for like 5-10 years, but you know what? There was a point where they were brand new too. There was a point where they had no list, so this isn't, and people say, oh, well, they have a list, that's why they're successful. Well, bullshit, because you know what? They didn't always have a list. I'm new, I didn't have a list. So, really the mindset of when he said that to me, that's kind of like motivation. It's kind of like a challenge, too. When people say something to you and you're like, oh, really? You believe me? Okay, well, that gives me the mindset that I can really do this. And the funny thing is that each and every single event that I've gone to, starting with that one, there's been a moment that I've had that I didn't know I needed. So it really goes to say what you were talking about the mindset. When I was on stage in Austin, David Sharp and David Wood were kind of up there talking, and they were looking around, and I just won an iPad for ticket sales or whatever, and his eyes connected with mine, and he came up and he put his arm around me and gave me, squeezed me a little bit, gave me a hug, and he looked me in the eyes and he said, you made it. And subconsciously, again, in that moment, I said, next time I'm going to make it bigger, and boom, that was like it. That was game on, and then next time, Chicago, I made it bigger. I was on stage again, number 4, winning money, blah, blah, blah. So really, it is all about the mindset, because when you change the way you think about yourself, it changes the way you can impact and influence the world. Because if you think you're a crummy person and nobody wants to, hear anything you have to say, you're not going to stand out. You're not going to reach out. And I have learned that we all have choices in life, right? We can keep things bottled up, struggles bottled up, for example, my alcoholism, right? Or we can share it, and that's the difference between being selfish or selfless. I could be selfish and not share my story because I'm embarrassed, of the person I used to be or the things that I used to do. and be selfish, or I could be selfless and share that, because there are so many other people out there in this world, who are probably going through the same things that I went through, and maybe are embarrassed themselves, or don't know how to reach out to talk to someone, or feel like they're alone. And, by putting ourselves out there, we're really impacting other people, because someone's always watching, someone's always listening. And it doesn't matter if you're a six-figure income earner like I am, or if you made $1,000 in a month. It doesn't matter. You can always impact someone it only takes one person to change your life. It really, really does. And, I'm just blessed that I've been given the platform, and that Empower Network is the vehicle that has allowed me to come into being the person that I was meant to be. And it's really key, because I walked into makeup in Chicago because I'd left my soda in there, and David Sharp was in the makeup chair. And I said, dude, I got to say something to you. And he goes, well, you really killed it on stage, Laura. And I said, well, you know what I'm going to say, but I'll go ahead and preface it, because I know what you're going to say back to me with, thank you for doing this for me. Because David Sharp has always told me, you're the one who did it. And he's right. I am the one who did it. But if it hadn't been for him reaching out and believing in me, that was the spark that ignited it. That was the key that allowed me to say, I can do this. I just needed someone to, to give me that little push. And because of that, I was able to come into my own. So that's really key.
That is huge. And I want to ask you a very important question on that exact topic. But before I do that, I got to know, okay, the first time you told him you were going to make the stage, you told him you were going to make it, you were going to be his counsel. The next time you said you were going to do it bigger. You just said there was a third encounter. What have you said for your next step in all of this?
Well, I mean, I haven't said anything, but like I said to you on stage, there was that aha moment that I had when, I said, and look at me now. And it's really resonating with me that, everything I do does make it. Like I just said, someone's always listening. It only takes one person to change your life, and so many people. Well, there was actually two people in particular that came up to me in Chicago. One of them came up to me in tears, after my speech, and I had gotten off stage. And he said to me, I was hungover when I flew here on an airplane yesterday, and I need help. Can you help me? And having people come up to you like that, that I impacted someone's life with what I said, and that's it for me. That's my why. That's why I'm doing this. Like I said, we all come to this game for money. We all want to make money. We want to work from home. We want to make a lot of money. I mean, who doesn't? You'd be a liar if you said that that wasn't your original intent and purpose. But as the times go on, and as I've had these moments that I didn't even know that I needed at each and every single event, it kind of turns into coming into your own, because I got it from Sharp, at the first event, and then the second event, I got it again, and then the third event, I was unveiled or unleashed or whatever you want to say, and given the opportunity to speak on a platform, my heart, and put my story out there. And like I said, other people have said to me, they really felt like that was my aha moment, and I do as well, where I say, and look at me now, because I realize that I do have content, I do have value to offer. People do care about what I have to say, because I am impacting and changing the world one person at a time, and for people to come up to me and really resonate with me and reach out and allow me to try to help them, that is what's key for me. I also said on stage, I was carrying my black lanyard, I wasn't wearing it, and I said, I'm going to talk about why I had that, for a minute. And really, because it doesn't matter, what level you're at. It doesn't matter, if you have a blue lanyard or a red lanyard or black lanyard. To me, it's not about how much money I've made or how much money I'm going to make. It's really about what my friend Chris Rushlow says about being the change. It is about being the change. My lanyard represents every single life that I've impacted, and every single life that I plan on continuing to impact as my journey, in this business goes on and on and on. So really, I think that was, the moment for me in Chicago where, I stepped into the person that I was meant to be. I stepped into the place in that stage where I was put at that very moment. And even right now, as I think about it and speak about it, I'm kind of getting chills. So it was an awesome honor, and I plan on doing it over and over and over again.
Well, it was definitely powerful, and I would definitely plan on listening every single time you want to jump up on there and rock the house. It was
Right.
definitely awesome. I love what you were talking about with David Sharp, because the funny thing is, I wonder how many people he's actually said that to, because everyone seems to think, oh, well, I just need someone to believe in me. I need someone to re-encourage me. But the fact of the matter is, I know that David Sharp and David would know it. Do it. I know that you do it for your team. I know that every single leader out there really believes in every single person that comes in. But until they believe in themselves and they believe that we believe in them, that won't change.
Right.
From what I hear, is you were just waiting for someone else because you were already believing it. You're already like, I'm gonna do this. Does someone else believe I'm gonna do this? And David
Right.
Sharp's like, yep, I believe you're gonna do this, and that's all you needed. And you took off. You were in that place. I'm wondering, how did you get to that place to where you believed in yourself so much that you just wanted to see it in another person to make it happen?
Well, and I talked about this last night on another interview, that I think is key. It's about making commitments and above and beyond, making decisions, but taking actions to change your life. Because really, for a lot of us who are new in this industry, in this business, we know we want to change our life, right? We made the decision we want to change our life. So we say, well, let me try this work from home thing, but you try it and you don't know what to do with it, right? Like me, I didn't even know what a flipping blog was. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't. And most people know I don't blog. I haven't blogged. I think I've written 5 blogs the entire time I've been in Empower Network. And they're like, how do you make so much money when you don't even blog? Because it's a blogging platform, but it's really about marketing. The main piece of it is about marketing, and connecting with people, because this is a people business. But for me, it was about, okay, making the decision that I wanted to change my life, right? So I was going to try working from home, and hopefully it wasn't a scam, because there are so many scams out there, right? You never know. But I made some commitments, okay? Because I didn't know what a blog was. I didn't know how to blog. But what I did know is that something needed to change in my life. Now, I'd already become, gotten sober. So obviously I had that already impacting and going positively in my life. But there was something missing. There was something more, because like I said, I've always known that I was meant to be on a stage, metaphorically somewhere. It's just kind of cool that I actually ended up on a stage, right? But I knew that I was meant to affect people, and I had to figure out what my vehicle was going to be, my why, my how. So what I did when I joined Empower Network is I made a decision, right? So we all know there are different levels, right? And so many people say, well, I can't make as much money as Laura Parrish or Lawrence Tam or Tony Rush or Tracy Orf or whatever, because I have to get all in, and I don't have the money to get all in. And I say horse honky, because guess what? I didn't get all in either. I started at the $25 level. But what I did do, because I didn't know what I was doing, I could only make decisions based on what I did have knowledge about. And what I did have knowledge about was that there were different levels, right? And so I made the decision and the commitment that I was going to do X, Y, Z to get to where I needed to be, right? So I joined on May 24th. And I said on June 24th, which, 1 month later, I'm going to upgrade to the inner circle. And I'm going to do it regardless of whether I made the money to do it or not. So that really kind of lights a fire under your tail, because it's like, well, shit, you better make the money to do it, right? Otherwise, you're still going to upgrade because you made the commitment. So, like other leaders have said, there is no plan B. There is no backup plan. This is it. You do or you die, right? So I said June 24th, I'm upgrading the inner circle whether I've made the money to do it or not. Then guess what? I also set the commitment July 24th, I'm upgrading to the Costa Rica whether I've made the money to do it or not. And then August 24th, I had said I'm buying the 15K whether I had made the money to do it or not. So I set it intention after intention after intention, because no, I didn't know how to blog. No, I didn't know how to market. No, I had no experience in anything before doing this type of work. But what I did know is something needed to give in my life. What I did know is I wanted to be somewhere different than where I was. And I was willing to make some commitments to see what happened with that, to see where it would go. So of course, so August 24th, here now I bought the 15K. Well, guess what? The event was September. And I'm like, okay, so I'm going to go to this event, right? And that's what I did. I made the commitment to go to an event. And really, that's where it's at, because I already was in it. I was already monetarily getting in it, and I knew that if I wanted to earn on a certain level, you have to own the products, because you can't earn on what you don't own, period. And I wanted to be able to earn, large amounts. But by making a commitment, it kind of forces you into things. And I talked about this too, that there's a difference between saying you're going to do something and then doing it, right? Everybody knows my ice cream analogy, about the action steps that are necessary, because you can say I'm going to do this and I'm going to change my life and I'm going to do that, but unless you do all the steps that are necessary to actually change your life, nothing's going to be different, right? So what was the worst thing that was going to happen? I was going to make these commitments and, get all these products and then go, and then what? I had to do something. I knew I needed to do something because my own best thinking had gotten me exactly where I was in life, right? Which is still missing something. It was great that I had become a better person, a better mom, a better wife, a better friend, a better sister because of my sobriety, but still I wasn't fulfilled. There was still something missing, and I knew that I had more to offer, more to give. So I set myself on a road to put myself in a place, not even knowing where that was going to be. I didn't know that I was going to subconsciously say, I got to go up to David Sharp and say something to him. And I didn't know he was going to tell me he believed in me, right? And you're right. I'm sure that they tell people that all the time. I know I tell my people that all the time. But the difference is we say that, but you don't know who's really going to act on it, right? I mean,
True.
He had no idea that I was going to be badass and I was going to watch out for Team No Sleep because it's going to be on. He didn't know just by me saying I'm going to do this that I was actually going to do it. So it was my intent to say, hey, I'm not playing. When I say I'm going to do something, I do it. And really, one of my big mottos is go big or go home. And that's how I roll. When I say I'm going to do something, I do it, period. And I've learned, through my sobriety and through Empower Network that, I'm worth everything that I say I'm worth, and I am, I have the integrity that I have and the person that I am because that's what I'm worth, and that's what I deserve, and we all do, and that's my why. That's why I want to help people change their lives, because we all deserve to have everything that we want and to live the way we want and to provide our families with the things that we want to provide them. So
that is absolutely true, and that is huge. I'm getting in the groove, I'm getting in the flow where I'm taking more and more pictures and videos of my lifestyle, and I'm taking the videos of going out to eat, or we just went to Las Vegas for a No Excuses Summit, and we brought our girls with us, first family vacation we all went on, and we took pictures and videos and all that. And I want to hear, because I know that one of your things you said as starting was one of the reasons you got in was just so you could get a babysitter to go on some date nights. I want to hear kind of how this lifestyle that we've now come to know has really evolved and changed your life with your family and what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Well, the biggest thing is now I don't make, and this is the number one biggest thing and key for me, that before I was in Empower Network, I completely had ass backwards, right? And that is this. I used to make decisions based on whether I could afford something or not, period. That's the way I used to live. And quite honestly, that's the way probably, and this is just my opinion, this is not statistics or anything, but in my opinion, I say 99% of people live this way. We make decisions based on whether we can afford to do something or not. And I said this after I got back from San Diego. I said, if someone would have asked me 6 months ago if there was any way that I would be flying to San Diego to go to a conference, my first reaction would have been, I can't afford a plane ticket, I can't afford a hotel room, I can't afford a babysitter, who's going to watch the kids, my husband has to work. It would have been excuse after excuse after excuse. So the big key thing for me is in this business that I've learned, I don't make decisions based on whether I can afford something or not. I make decisions based on what is best for myself, what is best for my family, and what is best for my business. And even if I don't have the money at that very moment that I made that decision, if I don't have the money at the moment that I made the commitment right then and there, I know that's okay, and I don't worry about it because of Empower Network. That is my platform that I can make those commitments even if I don't have the funds immediately, because I know because of Empower Network, I will have it, right? Because I know how easy it is for me to be able to provide those things, So if I want to take a trip, and it's XYZ dollars, and I may not have XYZ dollars now, I still make the commitment. And it goes back to the beginning of my mindset when I started this. I made a commitment to upgrade to the inner circle 30 days later, whether I had the money for the inner circle or not. and it lights a fire under you, right? So, and really about living the lifestyle, I mean, it's amazing. I do whatever I want. It's crazy. You know, I've traveled, I'm going to Denver. I'm probably going to Denver a couple times this next month. Austin, Chicago, Miami, but really, we can really do whatever we want, you know, and I take a lot of videos now because I think it's important for people to see that we're not just saying, hey, we live this lifestyle. I do the videos because I want people to see that it's real and see that it's true. Because it's one thing for us to say, oh, I do this and I go here and I go there and so on and so forth. But if you're saying that, but all people see is you sitting behind your computer 24/7, you know, working, well, why does anybody want to join your team, right? Because they hear you saying that you live this great lifestyle, but if all they see is you working, they're going to be like, well, hell, if I was going to sit behind a computer 24/7, I might as well keep my 9 to 5 because at least at 5 I can go home till the next day, right? So that's one of the things that I tell my team is key, and is also an inner circle audio about selling or living the life that we're selling by Tony Rush and David Sharp back on August 27th or August 27th. So you guys need to get in the inner circle. And they talk about that, about how important it is to really do that, because when people see that you're living what you're selling, you know, what you're trying to get across, then they want to join your team and they want to follow you. So it's been amazing. I mean, I've restained my whole entire deck, and people are like, you should pay someone to do that. But you know what? The cool thing is just because you have money doesn't mean spending it is going to fulfill you. Like me, I like to paint. I love to stain, right? So I did like spend $40 at Home Depot, and I bought one of those big construction work lights. And like at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, a month and a half ago, I had that bad boy set up out on my deck, and I stained my deck in the pitch black dark overnight because I wanted to. You know, because I wanted to. I bought a $2,500 John Deere riding lawnmower because I've never ridden a lawnmower before, never mowed a lawn before. And guess what? I have enough money that I could pay someone to mow our lawn, but I don't want to because that's cool. That's badass. I love doing that, you know. So I mow the lawn, you know. So, you know, it's really allowed me just to do cool things, you know, that I've never had the opportunity to do, buying patio furniture and just stuff, you know, just doing things that's cool. So it's really nice. It's awesome.
That is absolutely gangster. I love hearing the freedoms and the lifestyles and just the advantages that everything that we've been doing now has really caused us. As most of y'all probably heard my fiance's ringtone, but basically, I want to know, you know, kind of something interesting about your business. I don't know if maybe you told me this or if I've heard this before, but do you do any paid advertising at all?
It's funny you say that. I actually, all the income that I earned up until Chicago was completely free advertising, completely unpaid. And it's funny because I had already started to set in motion that I was going to start doing some paid advertising before Chicago. But the Daves had really started to, you know, send out emails and lift me up as, you know, the stay-at-home mom on a shoestring budget who doesn't pay for advertising. So really, I called my people and I was like, all right, we're not going to do this yet. I don't want to do any paid advertising because I don't want to go to Chicago and then people find out I did do some paid advertising and they were like, oh, it's not true. She, you know, she pays for stuff. So I did not. I intentionally did not do any paid advertising at all before the Chicago event. Now, I do have some paid things in the works right now, but quite honestly, they're still not profiting me as well as my free stuff is. So, because a lot of people say it's got to be fulfilling, it's got to be great just to be able to pay for advertising and not worry about doing what you've been doing, whatever that is, you know. And I say, not really, because it's really badass to like say, man, how gangster am I? I'm making this, I'm making 5 figures a month, you know, not paying for anything, you know. I might get a seller here and there from the paid stuff, but like that doesn't make you feel as good as saying, man, I got all this for free, you know. Really, it's just about connecting with people. It's just about, that's all it is connecting with people.
I hear you. I hear you. That is absolutely awesome. And, you know, I was kind of on the opposite side of the fence. You know, I had originally started doing free advertising with Twitter, and then I moved into a paid advertising arena. I actually own a traffic agency and do things like that. But I had been under the just the belief in my own head that, you could build a business using, free methods, but it would take a long time and it'd be a hard grind and you probably weren't going to be successful. And if you didn't do paid advertising, your company or your business would fail at some point in time. But then, it's funny, it really sparked me, and I was really inspired by you. I was really inspired. I went to No Excuses, like I said, in Vegas, and Gary Vaynerchuk, he's probably one of the most successful marketers in our niche, and it's funny to say he's in our niche because he sells wine, but really, he's a teacher and he's a
Right.
leader out there, and it's funny to me because he says, he starts his what he does. He says, now I'm going to teach you what I do, and I don't care because I'm talking to two people in the room right now because I know the rest of you don't have the dedication to do what I do, and I know that because 4 hours ago, and he did an 8 o'clock in the morning presentation. He said 4 hours ago, I woke up and started to talk to people on social media to get them in my business. What were you doing?
Right.
And we're all like, shit. You're right.
Sleeping.
You got us.
That's why I don't sleep.
That's right. So I absolutely love it. I kind of want to hear a little bit about, what you're using, social media platforms. Are you, relationship marketing? Is there some super secret to it, or are you just developing some relationships, and how's it going?
Well, and a lot of people have the misconception that, well, if you're doing free marketing and you're doing it all on Facebook, which it is all on Facebook, it's all Facebook, that you must be sitting in front of the computer all day long. And if I was going to do that, I might as well be on the phone. You know what I'm saying? I don't do that, and that's not what's required of you. Quite honestly, what I do, I actually see several other people doing, and it's kind of funny because there's like 5 pieces to what I do, okay? There's like 5 little puzzle pieces, right? And what I've done, what makes what I do so successful is because I've learned how to mold and fit those puzzle pieces together so that they work congruently within each other and all work together to create one massive successful outcome. So it's funny to me because I'll be on Facebook and I'll see like this marketer doing this piece of it, or that marketer will do that piece of it, and I see what they're doing and I'm like, man, if they just, if they could just put the pieces together, they're like so close, And I've got friends of mine in this business, they're like, Laura, what are you doing? And I'm like, I want to tell you so bad, but I really can't, because it's exclusive to my team. But people, the main point is I'm not doing anything secretive. There are lots of people doing the different pieces that I'm doing. They just haven't figured out how to connect the dots yet. And that's really what it is. But really, I only work about 3 hours a day. Now, in saying that, I do work for my business and my marketing and the income that I make, I work about 3 hours a day. Now, I do work more hours than that on my computer in general because I choose, and that's the key word here, to make myself extremely accessible to my team, okay? Because, only about 3 hours of what I do, as I said, is for me and my business and building myself and my income. The other couple hours I spend a day on the computer are because I choose to, because I want to, because I want to be there for my team, because I want to be accessible to them. I want to be there to answer their questions, and not everybody's like that, and that's okay. But you know what? If there's a day that I don't feel like doing that, I send a message out on Facebook. I'm like, hey guys, I'm going to be gone for 2 days, or I'm going to be gone for 3 days. Leave a message. I'll get you when I get back, And we work really well together like that. Or, I carry my phone with me. Most everybody does everywhere they go. So if I'm out, doing errands or whatever, and somebody hits me with a message like, hey, how do I do this, or where's that? I just hit them back. And it's really quick, fast, and in a hurry. And it's awesome. It's awesome to not be tied to the computer. I get up, I do a little bit of marketing for maybe 30, 45 minutes when my son goes down to nap sometimes, because he doesn't always do that. But if he does, I sit down and do 35, 45 more minutes of marketing and responding to people who want information. And then I do it again at night, And people say, well, what is the whole no sleep thing then, if you're not like working till all hours of the morning? And I'm like, well, anyone who has kids knows that the only peace and quiet you get is when they're asleep. So, at night is really when I do things like, laundry and dishes, when my housekeeper's not here, and, and listening to audios and just having my time, just having me time. And, reading and doing anything else that I might want to improve on myself, to improve on my business, just things that I want to do. A lot of people are like, well, I don't want to join your team because I like to sleep. And I'm like, that's got nothing to do with it, quite honestly. I've never slept. It has nothing to do with the business. But, to me, the people say, well, what does it really mean to you? What does Team No Sleep mean to you? And what it means to me is success never sleeps, because that's the goodness to honest truth. Success never sleeps, regardless of what team you're on. We're all part of one huge team, which is Empower Network. And I could not ever ask to be a part of a better business, nor will I ever be.
That is huge. That is huge. And I want to touch on your motto and what you just said, that success never sleeps. And I found that out, and I heard it from Tom McMurrin. He did a actual post on Facebook back a couple months when he was comparing his business to a normal person's business. Now, if people don't know who Tom McMurrin is, he's a $66 million earner and actually owns one of the largest escape artist sites on the internet. So if you're into international living, but he posted, one of those cute little pictures with a time clock and things, and they're like your work day, and then maybe he did the 9 to 7, or your work day, if you're building a business, you do it 2 or 3 hours. And then he showed he does 3 to 5 hours, but then he had about 5 or 6 assistants that were all doing between 5 and 10 hours. And his thing was, I believe it said, not only is my business running 24/7, but I actually have 64 hours worth of work in my day. Do you think we'll have the same outcome, the amount of work I'm doing for my business to yours? And it really just hit me like, oh, well, if he's at his level because of how many hours he's putting into his day, why would you ever stop recruiting your business? Why would you ever stop building it? Why would you ever say, oh, let me just take a break, let me just do nothing? No, everything you should do should be towards building your business. And that's why I like incorporating lifestyle. And that's why I like, as you were just saying, is it's badass. I bet you post about the things you get to do, mowing your own lawn, but giving yourself the freedom to decide to do that or pay somebody, and it's funny. Stuff like that really does get signups. It's crazy. Lawrence Tam, he posted about his shower back in 3 or 4 months ago, and he got a sign up from it. And people are like, how you get a sign up from your shower? It's like, oh, it's the lifestyle, guys.
It's completely true. And that's, that's one of the pieces of what I do, which is being completely transparent, And, some people were like, well, I'm not comfortable with sharing my life on my Facebook page. I'm like, well, honey, you got the wrong sponsor then, because I'm going to tell you to share your life on your Facebook page, because really that's what I do, And I talk about this too, because I use my personal Facebook page. People were like, should I get a business one? And I have a fan page, but the fan page for me is really just a backup in case my account were to get hacked, because that's happened before, which really stinks bad, because then you lose people. So if you have a fan page based on another Facebook page, which is on my husband's, if my account gets hacked, I haven't lost my people. So that's the only reason I have a fan page. But I do everything on my personal page because it is very important for me, at least, to show the world and to show everyone that I'm completely transparent. I've actually had people hit me up and say, I've researched all the leaders of Empower Network, and out of them I choose to sign up with you because you seem the most accessible. And that really means a lot to me, because like I said, I do take 2 or 3 hours a day by choice, not by requirement, to be accessible. Okay, because I want to be, because I think it's important, because David Sharp looked me in the eye and said, I believe in you, and I want to have the same opportunity to take what was given to me and pay it forward to people who just need someone to believe in them, right? So I do that, but I tell people, I put everything on my Facebook page, because you know what, when we post, oh, I made $3,000 today, oh, I made $9,000 today, oh, I made $5,000 today, and we post pay proof after pay proof after pay proof, but we don't post anything else, nobody's going to sign up under us, because it's not conscionable to someone who's not in this business. It's not feasible. They can't, still to me, and I've made $33,000 in a month before, that's a shitload of money. Like, still to me, I'm like, $33,000, that's more than a lot of people make in a year and a half, 2 years. So I still am blown away by it. So I know that the average person who's not in this business, who hasn't had a mindset change, just can't see that. They can't fathom that. They can't think about that. So what I choose to do is to make my life an open book. So if I have a $50 day, I'll post, hey, I made $50 today, and people were like, well, Laura had a bad day. And that shows them that I'm human, If I had a $1,500 day, hey, man, I had a $1,500 day. People were like, oh, badass, If I have a $100 day, I only had a $100 day, or I didn't work at all today, or tomorrow will be better, Christmas Eve last year, the morning of Christmas Eve, my daughter was throwing up all over the kitchen floor, right? In our brand new house that we just closed on December 17th, my daughter's throwing up on the floor. And I'm like, man, today's a sucky day, and my kid's throwing up everywhere, Or if I got to go to the dentist, I'm like, man, I don't want to go to the dentist, because I'm human. It's life. And so people can see my life. People can see my story. When they follow me or become my friend, they're not just seeing Laura Parrish, the girl who was a stay-at-home mom and, made 110 grand in less than a year with Empower Network. They see a human being who has struggles, who has difficulties, who has kids, who has to do shit I don't want to do, just like everybody else, but also has just, an innumerable amount of success as well. So being transparent is really, really a big thing. Is really a big thing, and that does get you signups. It does, because people want to connect with people. This is a people business. People follow people, right? Some people follow money, but in my opinion, they don't get very far when they do. Okay, because once the money's gone, then what, right? Because people can gain money, but then if they spend it all and they have nothing left, and you were just looking at the money from the get-go, then what's left on the inside of you? You're like an empty shell, right? If that's all it was about. So people want to be around like-minded people and around inspirational people and around people who believe in themselves and are going to help lift and edify other people up. And that's who I want around me. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I love going to the events, because I just constantly want to be surrounded by like-minded people who just know that this business is the real deal, who just know that this is about being the people that we want to be and living the way that we want to live. And it's just, there's nothing better than it. So
that is absolutely awesome. That is absolutely true. I wanna real quick touch on something you said though, and I want to see how that it's really impacting other people. You say by choice you allow yourself to be open for your team for 2 or 3 hours every day. How is that impacting your team and your team's growth and your team's connectivity?
Well, because they know that they can reach out to me. They don't have to feel like, and it's funny because some people do anyway. It's amazing to me, and I'm sure you've experienced this too, that once you reach a certain level, and David Wood talks about this, and he's talked about it before, about you're kind of in an authority position. I don't look at myself as being in an authority position, but other people look at me that way. So, for example, the way that I used to look at the Daves, like as, whoa, look at them, they're up here, right? And then I learned they're no different than me. We put our pants on the same way, and that's how I was able to start to grow to get up to their level. Obviously, I'm not there yet, but I will be one day, and I know that. So people look at me that way now. So like people are like, oh, my sponsor's Laura Parrish, the infamous Laura, you know what I'm saying? And people look at you that way, and it kind of is like weird because I don't look at myself that way. I'm like, dude, I'm just the same Laura Parrish you knew a year ago when I wasn't making hardly anything, for the people who've been with me that long. But, sometimes people will be like, oh, well, I didn't want to bother you. And I'm like, dude, I want you to bother me, right? Because I want to be here for you guys. Now, I know as I continue to grow and grow and grow, I'll become more scarce, and there's the scarcity piece that's huge as well. But the key thing for me, the bottom line, say all, end all of it is I never want to forget where I came from, because the moment that you forget where you came from is going to be the moment that you're headed right back to it. And, it's very important for me to show people that I understand the place that they're at, because I've been in that place, and I am no longer in that place because someone reached out to me, someone believed in me. So I want to show my team, and I want them to see that it is my goal and my heart to also be there for them, and to show them that I do care about what's going on with them and in their life, and whatever they need. If they just need to talk or a kickstart or whatever the case may be, if we need to jump on a live call or do a webinar real quick, whatever it is, I'm able and available to do that for a couple hours a day, and what does that take away from me? That doesn't take anything away from me. That is my why, right? So that's why I enjoy doing those things.
That's awesome. That is truly badass. I gotta, I want to ask two more questions. I want to ask because Robert gave a hilarious answer, but then Pamela gave a very like inspiring and like raise the bar type of answer. But is there something that starts your day? Is there some key defining moment or just something you do that you start your day a specific way every single day? You know, to give you an example, Pamela, she'll get into the shower and while she's doing her hair or whatever, she'll say, send me one person today that I can help change their business, change their life.
Wow, that's great. That's really great. That's a great answer. Now, my day, I guess I guess my answer would be kind of funny then, because my day starting and how that goes really depends on my children. Because those of you who have kids out there, I could sit and I could plan every day. I'm going to do this. I'm going to wake up at this time, do this with my kids. They're going to do that, and then my day is going to start like this. And it doesn't work that way, I, of course, being a recovering alcoholic, I recite in my head a lot the serenity prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So really, I guess I start my day with just knowing that I have no control over anyone or anything other than myself. You know what I mean? So I might make a plan that I want my kids to do this or that so that I can in turn do this or that. But even your own kids, 2 and 5, you can't even control your own kid. You know what I'm saying? We can't control anyone or anything other than ourselves. So I choose to look at things as they come to me, as they unfold in front of me, and take them and look at them, and say, well, what is my response? How will I react to this? What will I do about this? And take it like that, and then always make the right decision, because at the end of my day, which is a more important question for me, you're asking, how do you start your day? What do you say to yourself at the beginning of your day? To me, and I did a vlog about this, my very first vlog ever was about this. I talk about this at the end, is the most important thing to me is how I end my day. Because I ask myself two key questions at the end of every single day. And that is, did I always do the next right thing? You know what I'm saying? Like during my entire day today, did I always choose to make the next right choice? Did I always do the next right thing? And the second question I ask myself at the end of every night is, do I owe anyone any amends today? So for example, if, maybe I didn't do something right, or maybe I overreacted, or maybe I said something I shouldn't have said, or maybe I let someone get under my skin or whatever, I want to make sure that I make that right within 24 hours, because quite honestly, if you're not right with yourself, you can't be right with other people. So it's really important to me that I always keep myself in check, not only, for my sobriety, but for my business and my personal well-being and the clarity of my mind, and, having the integrity that I have. Because if I don't, then I'm not going to be of usefulness to this world. I'm not going to be of usefulness to other people. So it's really key to me that when I lay my head on my pillow at night, which is only like for 2 hours a night, but nonetheless, when I lay my head on my pillow at night, I know that I can honestly answer and say that the choices that I made during that day that I just lived, were right decisions, right-minded decisions, and that if I did anything or said anything that requires me to go to someone and say, hey man, I was off the edge or whatever, my bad, that I do that within 24 hours so that I can stay in a right frame of mind at all times.
That is very powerful. Would you say that your business as well as your personal life chugs along a lot finer when you're in that right mindset, when you're in line with yourself?
Absolutely. And the thing about it is so many people, we allow, and I won't say other people because it's me, I'm human just like anybody else. We allow the things that go on around us in this world to impact us, just like what I'm saying right now, someone could be listening to, and this could be impacting. It may be impacting you. You may be learning things or hearing my voice and hearing things that are making a difference in your mindset, So really, things happen to us every day that impact us, and how we choose to react to it sets along what's going to happen next in our day, the next minute, the next 5 minutes, the next hour, the next 2 hours. What happens at night when I say, hey, did I choose to do the next right thing all day today? Because what people don't realize is we have a right to start our day over at any time. anytime we want, you know? So if you say something to me that I don't like and I allow it to get under my skin, because quite honestly, no one can ruin your day without your permission. You know what I'm saying? Like if you say something that bothers me, I have a choice. We always have choices. I can take it with a grain of salt and be like, whatever, that's his problem, not mine, right? Or I could let it get to me. Now, I like to think I always say, you know what, that's not my issue, that's someone else's issue. But if I let it get to me and that starts to put a sour taste in my mouth, right? And it starts to give me wrong frame of mind, which is going to be rubbed off on and passed along to everyone that I touch and affect that day, right? I can stop and say, you know what? I don't have to have that attitude today. I don't have to continue on with a sour attitude and affecting people negatively. I can just stop right now and breathe for a little bit and take a break and start my day over. You know what? And start with the right frame of mind. So it really does impact and affect everything that we do. You know, like we talked about at the beginning about having the right frame of mind and how that influences your business and your life in the future. You know, it's the same type of thing. It's the same type of thing. So,
speaking of the future, one of my favorite questions to hear everybody in the series so far is, what are your goals and expectations of yourself and your business by the end of 2013 for the rest of this year?
For the rest of this year, actually, it's on my little whiteboard back here. I want to pay my house off. You know, I want to pay my house off. And I talked about this on an interview last night. Leverage is key in this business, and I've learned that. You know, and if you're new, like I was new, and you don't have anything to leverage because you're not making any money yet, you know what? You have to be smart and use the leverage of other people, you know, other leaders that you like. You just have to learn how to leverage things until you get to a point where you can leverage your own things. And, you know, I'm obviously to a point where I can do that. Well, for me, this is really big. Let's think about this, okay? I'm a first-time homeowner, right? And most people who buy their first homes don't buy a $300,000 home, but we did, and we could because of Empower Network, right? So first-time homeowner, $300,000 home, right? We closed on our house on December 17th, 2012. So my goal is to pay the house off by December 17th, 2013. So can you only imagine the type of leverage to say, not only was I new to internet marketing, no direct sales experience, stay-at-home mom, didn't pay for advertising, bought a $300,000 house as a first-time homeowner, and paid it off in less than a year. That is massive, you know? So I'm always looking to do things and to project into my future and set myself up for goals that not are so extravagant that I think I'd be setting myself up for failure, but because of my track record and the results that I've already produced, I don't think that's so far-fetched. You know what I'm saying? So I set myself up for that, and that's my goal by the end of 2013.
That is an awesome goal. This has been an amazing, amazing hangout. I always love hearing your perspective on things and hearing you tell your story and give your wisdom and what you're doing in your own business and life and how it can affect others. I got to ask you one question. I've kind of coined a question for the entire series, and every single one of them has given me a unique answer so far, so I'm really excited to hear yours. What's one thing that you do, either a big secret or just something small, but something you do daily in your business that you don't really talk about or share with very often?
Oh, I'm a numbers cruncher. You know, and maybe sometimes my team might gather that. I mean, I don't like share it or whatever, but you know, sometimes when I'm doing calls at the whiteboard, they'll see me like grab one of my calculators and be like, okay, so if this is what I want, you know, and this is what I need, then this is how I get there. So what I do is, you know, on a daily basis, because it really breaks it down for me, okay, what I need to do. Because like I said a little bit ago, still, to me, I don't know how I made $33,000+ in a month, right? That's just like, still I'm like, holy crap, how did I do that, right? So like if I have a goal, let's say, you know, to make XYZ dollars in a month, it's still like I said, it's like, that's huge. That's a lot of money. And it seems overwhelming. And when people get overwhelmed, then they just think, well, there's just no way I can do it. You know what I mean? There's just no way I can make that much money. But what you do, so let's just take 30,000, you know, for example, because that kind of rounds out perfectly with, you know, 30 days in a month. So if your goal is 30,000 in a month, you take 30,000 and you divide it by 30 days, and what do you get? You get $1,000. So it's a lot easier to look at my goal as, oh, I only have to make $1,000 today. Because if I say I have to make $30,000 this month, I'm like, holy shit, that's a lot of money. How am I going to make 30,000? But if I break it down and say, well, I only have to make $1,000 today, right? I'll deal with tomorrow when I get to tomorrow. But for today, I only need to make $1,000. And then I break it down even further and say, okay, well, this is what I've done already today, right? And then I say, okay, if I only need to do 800 more today, for example, I think about what I own and how I can use what I own to get me to where I need to be. Well, for me, I own all the products, so that's great, right? So really, then I break it down to, well, I only need a 15K and I'm good for the day. Or, you know what, I only need a Costa Rica and, you know, a couple inner circles and then, you know, a few basics. Or a couple Costa Ricas, you know, or a Costa Rica and 3 inner circles. So if you break it down, which is what I do every day, I'm a numbers cruncher so that I can always meet my goals. Because you can drive hard, you know, and if I'm behind, then yeah, maybe I'll spend some more time marketing, and that's my choice. I don't have to, okay? I already have a huge and excellent income, as we know, right? But that's not good enough for me, right? Because to me, it's not about the money. My why is about changing people's lives and being extraordinary, being an extraordinary person, because I know I was meant to be an extraordinary person, and by being an extraordinary person, I can positively affect and influence other people. So I always push myself to the limit. So, you know, if I know I want to make $45,000 this month and I say, okay, well, where am I at right now with that? Then I figure out what I need left. Then I divide that out by the days. And then by, okay, where I'm at, what I need to do each and every day. So I'm a numbers cruncher. That's what I do every day. I will sit down and say, okay, this is where I'm at. This is what I need, blah, blah, blah. And then I post it. I have I know you see the whiteboard behind me. I have a huge bulletin board above my desk here. And I take a scrap piece of paper every day and I write, you know, this is my goal for the month. This is where I'm at. This is what I need for the remainder of the month, which is this is how much I need for today and every day. You know, and then I recrunch and refigure those numbers every day and I post it on the board in front of me.
That is awesome. That is something that I don't think people actually do. I don't think that there is anybody that's not successful, let me put it that way, not reaching their goals consistently, that don't map out their goal and their actual plan there. Because they do say exactly what you just said, and I still think that way too. Like 30,000, that's a freaking lot of money, you know, to make in a single month. You know, how am I going to get there? And looking at it that way versus looking at it as, oh, I got to make $1,000 today. Let's go do it. That's a huge step, and that's a huge switch. So yeah, I like that.
And then if you make more than 1,000, you know, if you get a couple 15Ks in one day, you make $2,000. You know, you actually end up surprising yourself because, you know, I don't roll it over. I don't say, well, I don't have to do anything today because I made 2,000 yesterday. I'll just forget that I made the 2,000 and just pretend I made the 1 and still set the goal for the next day is 1,000 and the next day 1,000, 1,000. And then come the end of the month, you're like, well, holy shit, I made a lot more money than I planned on making, you know? So it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool to roll it out that way. So
that is really, really cool. Well, I'm so glad we did this interview. I want to really quickly before we close, I want to give you a real quick chance. I want to hear your reason why someone should join Empower Network right now.
Well, my reason why they should join, well, obviously to change their life. You know, like I said, we all get into this business to make money. That's everyone's intention. I completely and wholeheartedly believe that, but it's not so long after you get in that you realize that the true meaning of all this, in my opinion, is that this is really, you know, it's not just a blogging platform. It's not just marketing training. This is about, you know, self-development. You know what I mean? And Chris Rushlow actually did a Inner Circle call. It's in the Inner Circle now, but he was hosting the Monday night call of Empower Hour not long ago, and said that, you know, that this is really a self-development, you know, system, you know, put into like marketing training and stuff, and that we can earn income, and it's crazy cool. And you know, I can't think of anything better. You know, even if people, and I have to be honest, you know, because there are people that don't make money in this business. We've talked about the difference between an ordinary or an average person and an extraordinary person, right? And the people who are extraordinary are successful, and the people who are average aren't. But I got to tell you, I have people on my team, this is the goodness, honest truth, that haven't made money, that have been in this business for 6 months, and I say to them, you know, you need some help? Like, I'm here to help you. Like, I want to help you make money. And, you know, they quite honestly said to me, I'm good. Because they're like, I have gotten more from Empower Network than any more value than any amount of money that I could ever earn doing this. And they're okay with the job that they work, right? They wanted more out of this than money. You know what I'm saying? They wanted to change the way they feel about themselves, the way they believe in themselves, change their life and how they live. You know what I mean? And really, if anybody is wondering why should I join Empower Network right now, because you're sick and tired of living the way you live right now. Why are you on this call, right? Why are you here? Why are you here to be inspired? Are you here to be motivated? Or are you here because you've been following BJ and thinking about signing up? Are you here because you've been following me and thinking about signing up? You know, there has to be a reason that you're on this call right now, and everything happens for a reason. You are exactly where you're supposed to be right now, right? So if you're just tired of living paycheck to paycheck, if you're tired of not being able to give your family what you want to give them, you know, if you're tired of just feeling stuck, you know, if you're tired of wondering what is my vehicle, how am I going to be able to change the world? What is my purpose on this earth? You know, I talk about, and I talked about this last night, about how so many people, like Thanksgiving and Christmas is such a horrible time for so many people. Because Thanksgiving rolls around, the day after Thanksgiving is what? Black Friday, right? And that's like supposed to be the happiest time where people are going out and spending money and buying gifts, you know, because to kids, that's what Christmas is about, is gifts. And we feel so down on ourselves and so horrible about ourselves and so miserable about ourselves because we just can't provide what we want to provide. We just can't give what we want to give. And, you know, it's almost like putting yourself in that mindset, even though it's June, right? So do this, shut your eyes, put yourself in the mindset that it's the day after Thanksgiving and you have that hole or that drop in your stomach where you're feeling like frustrated because you can't do what you want to do, and get upset about it, get angry about it, have some passion about it, and say, by God, I don't want to live that way. I'm not going to go through another Thanksgiving like that. I'm not going to go through another Christmas like that. I'm going to give my family what I want to give my family, what they deserve. I don't want to feel that way about myself anymore. I don't want to feel that way about my life anymore, and I'm making the decision to change it. And because I joined Empower Network, not only did I make that decision, I have the tools right in front of me to get up and do it. And that's why you need to join Empower Network right now.
That's huge. So if you're watching this on a special page and you see a buy button, click the link below. If not, get back to whoever brought you to this presentation and definitely join with them. You know, connect with Laura if you haven't already. You know, she's on fire. She's really looking to help people, and she's really going to take you great places in your business. You know, Laura, thank you so much for coming out and spending some time with me tonight and having a blast and really affecting and impacting the lives of every single person who watches this.
Yeah, man, it was great to be here on a Friday night. I love it.
For sure. So she's Laura Parrish. I'm BJ Dolla, and we'll see you at the bank. Take care.